Welcome back to another Mobile Centrics Tips and Tricks. My name is Derek and today I'm going to be showing you how to repair the power button on an Apple Watch Series 8. This happens to be the 45mm, and what has happened is the power button has simply popped out, or at least partially popped out. Won't go back in, won't click, and unfortunately the only way to fix it is from the inside. So in today's video I'm going to show you everything from opening the watch, fixing the issue, and closing the watch. Everything from start to finish. Let's get into the video. Here I have an Apple Watch. This is the Series 8 45mm. And as you can see, we've definitely got an issue with the power button. It has partially fallen out. And unfortunately, it's not something that you can fix from the outside. So let's pop this apart. And I'm going to show you how I fix it. The first thing that I'm going to do is get a really flexible prying tool. And we'll gently wedge it down in between the frame and the display. And on the Series 8, you want to go all the way down to the bottom to where it makes contact with the frame, unlike you would on the 6 series and before when you're having to worry about a gasket. I'm going to carefully add some isopropyl alcohol and start to pry on this. And isopropyl alcohol, this is 99.9% isopropyl alcohol, won't do anything except help the process along. So we'll just let the tension of flexing the pry tool help start to pop the seal there. And I'm going to take a piece of plastic. I'm going to wedge it down inside alongside that, kind of move it back and forth until it wants to kind of flex around and get under the edge of the display. If I do this just right, I'll be able to get under the bezel and pop it all the way up. And then once it's kind of in there and under, I can tell just based on its depth, I'll be able to pop out the prying tool, and we'll just gently slide along the side here, breaking that seal. And then I'll be able to put the pry tool back in, and it'll help lift the display out. Adding a little bit more isopropyl alcohol around the border will help release the adhesive. You can see it's starting to lift there finally. Gotta be careful when you're going around the edges. You don't want to damage any flex cables. See the display still working, pushing on the crown. Now I'll test again, make sure we didn't damage the display. Pushing the crown. No lines going through the display, it's still there, so we're good. Now what we need to do is pop off the display, take out the battery, and that'll give us access behind the flex cables to work on the power button. So for that, I'm going to use a little bit of isopropyl alcohol here on the flexes and slowly start to peel them up. Not putting really any tension, it's barely pulling on this. You don't want to tug on the cables. They're not soldered too well down on the logic board, so any tugging against the frame here can cause issues with the display and touch down the road. Gently till we get to the end. Grab our tweezers and gently get under the sticker here without scraping the flex or damaging the connector. We'll do the same on this one. Feeling for it, pushing in and pulling it back. And we'll flip up the flaps for the display connector, and then we can gently pull out the flexes. Now for the adhesive on the border, I really like to use one of these tools. And what it does is it grabs all of the adhesive saves a lot of time. And we'll do the same inside. And we'll get rid of all the grime and dirt that's collected on the inside before we close it up. Let's go ahead and extract the battery. So what we're going to do is add some isopropyl alcohol down under the battery. And I'm going to take the back side of my tweezers because they're not sharp. We're going to carefully wedge under the battery, and we'll let the little bit of tension that we're causing and mainly the alcohol help lift the battery. And you want to be careful not to crush the flex cable into the frame, so I'm prying off of this edge over here, and I'm prying pretty gently. Add a little bit more isopropyl alcohol. Grab our screwdriver and we'll take out this screw and little bracket. And we can pop the connector gently, and we'll set the battery aside. Fold down the flex cable just enough so we can see and remove the two screws. The one on the right, there's nothing in the way, so it's really easy to pop out. The one on the left is partially covered by a flex cable, so if possible, push it out of the way without damaging it. Alright, now we'll loosen that up and we can now extract the whole button when it's stuck in there really good.
Standing in the red inside a payphone, just wanna break, no, I'm not gonna give in. Take a last shot, Michael J. Win. No, I'm not a robot, I'm in my own skin. Never get lost when thoughts pull you in. I miss the old you, we died with a purpose. All the energy around me felt nervous, scared I would pop out fast.
Wow, and that's heavily corroded on the inside. I'm going to take it under the microscope so we can get a really good look at it and see what we're dealing with. Alright, so looking at it under the microscope, definitely have a decent buildup. Kind of cement. You can see the broken piece of the actual button there. That's why it won't go back in and stay in. It's busted. Pop out whatever else this is. That looks like salt deposits. Definitely have quite a bit of mineral deposits. Carefully scrape that out, and it's kind of caked itself onto the button itself. And blow out the dust. Now the tricky part is if that button is corroded on the inside, which it might be, we can replace it. But what's happened on this model is the flex cable that comes off the power button is soldered right here onto this flex cable that goes to the crown. So replacing it just requires a little bit of solder work where you separate this cable from the other without damaging it. And luckily it's got these little guides, little holes to line up on the back. So if you do need to solder it, you can solder it back together. It's just not fun to have to do if you can avoid it. So we're gonna finish the repair up as if the button is still good. It's a high chance that it was just the button popped out, and after removing all of that corrosion, it'll work again. And obviously I want to come in and clean up this border, so we'll do that at the end, but just gonna give a little bit more attention to the inside here with some isopropyl alcohol, and I'm gonna come in with the clean room wipe, and we're gonna kind of rub it down. It looks much better. Alright, we'll get a new button and we'll stick it there, and we'll screw back in the one screw. It's still in there, and we'll put back the second screw, make sure it clicks, and it does. And now it's hard to tell, but there's a slight slant to this button where it's going this way. That means I installed it backwards. It would work just fine if I leave it like that, but it wouldn't look right. So we're gonna take this out, flip it around. Push it on in. And now you can see it. It's flush. That's a much better fit. A little detail, but it definitely goes a long way. And get clean room wipe. Put some isopropyl alcohol on there. We'll go around the border. It's caked on there pretty good. see this happen a lot when people do like construction. It's like the dust gets in there, especially if they do like concrete. All right, now let's take the battery. We'll reconnect it just like that. We'll get the bracket and the screw, and we'll put it back on. Slide the battery back in, making sure this flex cable doesn't get pinched under it. We'll peel back the stickers, then we'll slide the flexes back into the connectors. Make sure they get pushed all the way in. And we can close the latches and push the stickers back on. Let's see if the battery has any charge by clicking on it. We'll see if the power button works now by clicking on it. And it does. We just need to charge this guy up. So we'll plug him in. And we get a charging symbol. We'll give this a little bit of time to charge so we can thoroughly test it. And then we'll just close it up. Alright, looks like it's come on now. So let's see if the power button works. Pop us back and forth. And it's not acting like it's fully compressed like that. So everything's working on the watch. So go ahead and turn it off. Turn it off, and oh, I've got to clean the edge of this up too. Let's get some isopropyl alcohol out. I'm going to go around the border real quick and see if we can't make this edge just a little less dirty. For the adhesive, I'm going to be using some cold press adhesive. This acts very similar to the original adhesive. So what we'll do is we're going to pipe this out in a uniform fashion so that we can get a so we can restore hopefully some of the resistance that this used to have for water. Now, obviously, having worked on the power button, given the state of the frame, I wouldn't recommend swimming with a watch. The amount of repairs I see on Apple Watches, even brand new ones from Apple for water damage, is quite staggering. Alright, now we'll make sure things line up on the inside with the antennas. And then we'll compress it on down, get our cloth out, get some isopropyl alcohol, we'll go around and get rid of any of the squeeze out and give it a nice clean finish. And then for pressure, just so we keep the screen nice and compressed, I'm just going to take a rubber band and go around it several times. That's plenty compression to kind of leave for the next few hours, just to guarantee that it doesn't ever pop back up while the cold press is curing. And that's this watch done. And there you go, all fixed, working again. It's nice and flush, no longer scratched because it's a new button. It clicks, it's almost brand new. If you found the video useful, smash the like button and subscribe for more future videos like this. Thanks a ton for watching. We'll see you in the next video.